All right, Mastery members, Brian Reese here, the VA Claims Insider. Welcome back. And in this module, again, we're in the specialized claims areas now. This is going to be a big one for you, all right, because secondary claims, as you're going to see here as we start talking about this, they're the most overlooked, but the easiest to get approved by the VA, and then the easiest also to get the rating and compensation you deserve. And just like any primary disability, which you might already have, such as PTSD or lower back problems or tinnitus or whatever, a secondary claim, once it gets its rating, it's compensated just like any other primary disability. Okay, so primary disabilities, of course, are what your VSO helps you do, or what maybe you did when you transitioned out of active duty. But secondary claims are typically overlooked because a lot of people don't know about them, number one. And number two, most people just don't understand that you even can do it, and then the proper procedures for how to do it so that you can get approved. Okay, so let's step through this here. Feel free to get out your notebook and pay close attention here. Of course, you can always go back and watch this as many times as you want, okay? So let's talk about the eligibility. So again, three things, but a little bit different than the three things you've seen before in terms of just general claims eligibility. Okay, so the first part though is similar or the same. You've got to have a medical diagnosis of a condition or a disability. Okay, you've got to get your butt to the doctor and get diagnosed with something before you can file a secondary claim for it. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that you're going to file a secondary claim for depression that's been caused or made worse by your current service-connected tinnitus, all right, which is the ringing in your ear. And there is case law precedent for that, by the way, that the ringing in the ear for tinnitus can cause you to become depressed because you've got insomnia, you're not able to sleep, it affects your work and other relationship issues. So it can cause or make your depression worse, okay? But a key thing to note here is you can't just file a secondary claim in that instance. You can't just file a secondary claim for depression connected to your tinnitus if you've never been diagnosed by a doctor with depression, okay, or with anxiety. So make sure that whatever it is, plantar fasciitis, knee problems, lower back problems, a mental health issue, sleep apnea, before you file your secondary claim, please, please, please go to the doctor and get a diagnosis and make sure it's in your medical records. Okay, it's going to make this process so much easier for you. All right, so then once you do that, then remember, in most primary disability claims, the nexus, which is the service connection piece of was your disability caused or made worse by your active duty military service. Secondary claims, this is completely different. The nexus is automatic because the disability that you're filing for secondarily was caused or made worse by a current service-connected disability rated 0% or higher, okay? So you have to have at least some claims rated 0% or higher, and they must be service-connected in order to be eligible to file a secondary claim against it. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you of what that means. And again, the reason why secondary claims are so powerful is because, especially if you've been out of the service for a while, it's so much easier to prove the nexus, okay, which is the piece about service connection, okay? And then, of course, the third thing is you must have persistent and reoccurring symptoms of the disability into the present day, okay? I call that severity of symptoms, and all that really means is, do you currently have the disability or condition? Yes. Are you suffering from it? Yes. And then do you have current symptoms that are affecting or limiting your life in some way, okay? If you've got all of these three things, awesome, you're good to go, you're ready to file your secondary claim. If you don't, go back and make sure that you meet all three of these pieces before you proceed, okay? All right, I wanted to cover this again real quick because this is what we figured out, all right? In general, there's two reasons why VA disability claims get denied. All right, and you're going to see in a second why this plays into secondary claims. By far, the number one reason why disability claims get denied is the VA determines that there's not enough clear and convincing medical evidence. What that means is the VA rater, okay, which is a person probably just like you and I, a fellow disabled veteran who wears the hat and title of rater at the VA, they look at the evidence submitted, the medical evidence, and there just isn't enough for them to determine whether you even have the disability or not, whether you're suffering from it or not. It just doesn't make sense to them, okay? So that's why it's so crucial for you to be going to the doctor regularly, updating your records regularly, communicating. There's that secure messenger app inside of My Healthy Vet. So, if you've got stuff going on, communicate with your primary healthcare team or your mental health doctors, because every time you do, that starts getting added again to your medical records. Okay, so again, this is medical evidence. That's the number one reason why claims get denied. Okay, but then the second reason, and this is a close second, is the VA is unable to determine the nexus, which is that service connection piece. Okay, but the difference though is in a secondary disability claim, the nexus is going to be near automatic as long as you upload the appropriate documentation, because you're claiming as the veteran that, hey, this disability was caused or made worse by my other primary disabilities. Okay, so something that's already service connected, such as PTSD, I'm filing a secondary claim for sleep apnea, claiming that my PTSD caused or made my sleep apnea worse. Okay, or the example I'm going to share of mine is my left foot plantar fasciitis, which is that severe heel pain, was caused or made worse by my current service-connected right knee problem. Okay, that's rated at 10%. Okay, so again, the service connection piece becomes much easier. So if you've been out of the military for more than a year, the service connection piece becomes more difficult. One of the ways you get around that, of course, is by filing secondary claims. Okay. All right, so what the heck is a secondary disability? They're the most overlooked but the easiest to win. Okay, a lot of veterans don't even know what secondary disabilities are, or if they do, you don't know how to go about filing them. Okay, so again, it's caused or made worse. A condition or disability that you're suffering from today was caused or made worse by your current service-connected disabilities rated 0% or higher. Okay, and again, it's easier to show the nexus. And again, here's what I love about these words: easiest and easier, right? That should stick out to you. That's why I put them in bold and in green. Easier to show the nexus, which means you prove service connection, and you're also going to likely get these done and approved faster, okay, than a normal primary claim. So I put an example there of a lifestyle impact claim. In the previous lesson here, I give a full example of what a lifestyle impact claim is, but what it really is it's a secondary claim for mental health. It's a secondary claim called chronic pain syndrome with depression, or chronic pain syndrome with depression and anxiety, or whatever your mental health diagnosis is, okay? And what you're claiming is that due to your service-connected disabilities that are causing chronic pain in your life, all right, you've become depressed, or you now have anxiety because of your chronic pain caused by your service-connected disabilities, okay? But again, what it really is it's a mental health claim. But the reason that we call it a lifestyle impact claim is because you're having all kinds of issues in your life. Your depression or your anxiety has made it difficult to function. Perhaps it's affected your relationships. Maybe you're divorced. Maybe you're having trouble holding gainful employment. You're having anger issues. You're having trouble sleeping. You're having sexual problems. Whatever the issue is, that's why it's called, or we call it, a lifestyle impact claim, because your chronic pain has caused or made you to become depressed. Okay, so you're filing a secondary claim for chronic pain syndrome with depression, and you're linking that to some disability or combination thereof inside your account. So maybe it's your lower back pain, or maybe it's your knee problems, or maybe it's your neck issues or your tinnitus or whatever. Okay, you're going to have to pick something. So really be thinking about what current service-connected disabilities do you have that you could file secondary claims against. Okay. So a hack here, I mean, literally, you think about the human body, all right? The human body is just like a motor vehicle. It's a system. It's a system of parts that all work together. And when those parts and systems, when all that's running well, your human body functions well. But just like a motor vehicle that breaks down or runs out of oil, or the axle snaps, or you lose a tire and you keep going on it, eventually other parts of the vehicle are going to break down. And the same exact thing happens, guys, inside your body. Okay, if your left knee goes, you're probably going to start having right side of your body problems. Okay, if you've got severe sleep apnea, it's very possible that that sleep apnea has caused or made your PTSD worse, or vice versa. All right, as I put there in the example. So just really be thinking about, inside of your body right now, what are some disabilities or conditions you have going on that you could connect to other service-connected disabilities that you already have. All right, so now I'm going to run you through this example here of my left foot plantar fasciitis, again, which is that severe heel pain that was caused and made worse by my current service-connected right knee condition. Okay, so here's what happened. This just happened last year, actually. So I'm currently service-connected at 10% for a right knee condition. Okay, that's how it's listed inside of my e-benefits record. I had some knee problems on active duty. I hurt it playing hockey while I was at the Air Force Academy. Decided not to have surgery, but I still had some damage inside of my right knee. So when I got out and filed my initial claim back in 2012, I was service-connected for 10% for my right knee condition. So fast forward 5-ish plus years after leaving the military, I developed left foot plantar fasciitis. Okay, and if you've ever had plantar fasciitis, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like you get out of bed in the morning, and that first step, it literally feels like somebody is jamming a hot knife into the bottom of your foot. That's what plantar fasciitis feels like. And it sucked because I love to run, I love to work out, I love to play hockey. And my left foot plantar fasciitis became so bad that I couldn't do those things anymore. All right, I wasn't running anymore. I could barely walk. And I mean, I did all kinds of stuff, icing, I was rolling my foot on a ball. I mean, there were lots of different things I was trying to do. And those things weren't helping. So I went into the doctor, and I was diagnosed at the VA with, the doctor was like, "Hey, dude, you've got plantar fasciitis." And I'm like, "What is that?" I thought that was just something that old people get, and that I see ads for on TV. I didn't even know what it was. So he explained what it was to me. We talked about it. He diagnosed me with it. He gave me an information sheet on plantar fasciitis. Okay, but the point here is I was diagnosed by a doctor, and I sought treatment for it. Okay, I was actively trying to get better. Okay, so think about this for a second. Do you think that I would have been granted service connection had I filed this plantar fasciitis claim as a primary disability? All right, remember, I had left the military 5 years earlier. The answer to that question is no, because I had nothing in my active duty military medical records where I spoke or complained about left foot problems or heel pain or plantar fasciitis. So if I would have filed it as a primary disability, the VA would have denied it and said, "Okay, Brian, yeah, we agree that you have plantar fasciitis, but it was not caused or made worse by your active duty military service." All right, so I would have been denied service connection because they couldn't find the nexus. However, for me, because I had this right knee problem, I was favoring the left side of my body. Very clear medical evidence and precedents that pointed to that. And so I filed it secondary to my current service-connected right knee, which again, then the nexus was easier to prove because my plantar fasciitis was caused or made worse by my other current primary service-connected condition. not my active duty military service. Okay. So how about the evidence? So you might be thinking, all right, I think I get it. I'm on board. I understand this. What did you do? So I submitted and wrote, you've heard me talk about this a ton, the VA Form 21-4138, the statement in support of a claim for plantar fasciitis. And I wrote it specifically with language secondary to my right knee condition. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. And I'm also, if you click below this video, you'll see the link there. You can download it so that you can use it and copy it or model it and use it as you see fit, okay? I also uploaded a medical research report on the prevalence of plantar fasciitis in military members, okay? I found a research study on pubmed.gov, which I'm going to show you as well, that talked about how military members are more likely than the general population and general civilians to have plantar fasciitis. And there's lots of reasons for that. Combat boots, inadequate footwear, being barefoot around the showers, working in high stress environments, being overseas in deployed locations, lots of different reasons, right? Carrying heavy gear. So I found a research report and I uploaded that inside of eBenefits along with my claim. And of course, I uploaded my medical records and evidence that showed that I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. Okay, so again, here's the actual statement in support of a claim. You can click below this video as well. There's a link inside of this module where you can actually download this, this form. But you can see I characterize the disability there, left foot, severe unilateral plantar fasciitis. And I say right there, I have severe plantar fasciitis in my left foot. I believe my left foot problems are secondary to my service-connected right knee strain. My body now favors my left leg due to my right knee problems. Excessive wear and tear, overuse, and strain has caused me to develop plantar fasciitis in my left foot. Okay, again, so I talk about the condition. I talk about how it was diagnosed, how it's service-connected and caused or made worse by my right knee problem. All right, and then I go into how it's affecting my life. The pain, the things I've tried, what I try to do, can no longer walk, I'm having trouble working out, playing golf, or participating in leisurely activities. Okay, this is how you write a statement in support of a claim game. But what I want you to do is think about whatever condition you're going to file secondary. Make sure you talk about in your statement in support of a claim how you believe that it was caused or made worse by another issue. Okay, whether it's your neck, your back, your tinnitus, or whatever. Okay, so just be thinking about that as you're going through this and thinking about how it applies to you. Okay, remember I mentioned that medical research report? So here's a hack for you. If you go to pubmed.gov, this is a website, it's a free service run by the National Institute of Health. It's loaded with medical research that's happening around the world in real time. All right, and you can search and find various medical research reports that may help you prove service connection, which is that nexus. So whether you're filing primary or secondary, I know in this module we're talking about secondary claims, you can use this to see if you can find something that explains some type of medical research that has discovered that, hey, people with sleep apnea, there's a correlation between sleep apnea and PTSD, which there is, by the way, and vice versa. There's a correlation of PTSD from sleep apnea, all right? And there's all kinds of stuff out there of various research reports that link disabilities or conditions in the body to other issues in the body, okay? So again, I pulled this screenshot right from pubmed.gov because I wanted to show you what it looks like. So, I mean, you can go there right now if you want to open up another browser window on your computer, and you can go to pubmed.gov, just type it in your browser. And when you get here, you'll see on the top there, there's a search bar. And all I did in this exact example was I typed plantar fasciitis military, and a bunch of links came up. I ended up using that third one, all right? And you can see that administration of an herbal complex, lists the name of the researchers, plantar fasciitis and military, a medical service, a case report. Okay, and I uploaded that. I made sure it made sense and talked about what it is and how it's related. And I downloaded that and I uploaded it as a supporting medical evidence in my case. Now, you don't have to type the word military, okay? You might want to type something like causes of sleep apnea or causes of post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? It doesn't have to be related to the military, but whatever research report you find, especially with secondary disabilities, make sure that it's somehow tying or explaining how it's linked to other disabilities or conditions in the body, okay? So what was the result of my situation? I ended up getting a 20% rating, service-connected, for left foot plantar fasciitis, secondary to my right knee. This happened in under 2 months, and I didn't have to have a C&P exam. And so you might be sitting there going, oh my God, what? How did you not have to have a C&P exam? Sometimes, and again, I can't make any promises because there's no rhyme or reason as to why the VA hits people with C&P exams and some people without. But what I can figure is that because I uploaded enough medical evidence the first time, right? It was a fully developed claim, and I had the medical research report, I had the statement in support of a claim, I had the diagnosis from the doctor, I had my personal statement. With all of those things, I think that the VA and the VA rater determined it doesn't need a C&P exam. There's enough medical evidence for me to make my determination on the evidence submitted and the evidence submitted alone, okay? So again, secondary claims often get decided much faster than primary disabilities as well, which I highly recommend is why you consider thinking about filing, especially if you're going for an increase or you're trying for the 100% rating, okay? So some things to think about for you, okay? What conditions and disabilities do you suffer from right now at this moment that can or could be connected to other service-connected disabilities that you already have? Okay, you can go look inside your eBenefits account, click the disabilities tab. You can see your list of all the disabilities you have that are service-connected, rated 0% or higher. Okay, and then take out a sheet of paper or open up a Word document on your computer and start writing down disabilities or issues you have that might be secondary, and then start gathering your evidence. Okay, do you need to go to the doctor to get a diagnosis? Maybe, maybe not. Do you need to perhaps seek a medical nexus letter from our doctor that says something like, in my medical opinion, or it's well known in research journals, that left foot plantar fasciitis can easily be caused or linked to conditions or problems on the right side of the body, or vice versa, right? You may want to still get a nexus statement from our doctor or a doctor to help you, okay? And then, of course, you're going to actually just file a secondary claim inside of your eBenefits claim, whatever is active and open that you're working. So if you go back inside of Module 2, the tactics, go into where I do the on-screen teaching inside of eBenefits, and it lists the disabilities, and then you can click, right next to them. You can request an increase. You can add secondary. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to click add secondary, and then you're going to type the name of your disability, right? And then you'll see it pop up with a little arrow that shows you've added it successfully and that it's secondary to the primary disability in your claim, okay? All right, now, if you do get a C&P exam, so you remember me saying I didn't get one, okay, but you might. So if you do get a C&P exam, just remember, and I highly recommend you do this, is at your C&P exam, tell the doctor how or why you think that the disability you're filing secondary was caused or made worse by the other condition. You can tell them that. You know, hey, sir, just so you know, I filed this left foot plantar fasciitis secondary to my right knee because I've got all these right knee problems, and it's caused me to favor the left side of my body, which is why I now have unilateral plantar fasciitis in my left foot. All right, feel free to tell the doctor that, of how you think they're linked and related. And the reason why you should do that is he or she, then you want to make sure they put that in their notes, because they put that in their C&P exam notes, which of course then flows forward to the VA rater, who's going to make a decision on your claim. Okay? I hope all of this makes sense and that you guys are like, okay, yep, I got it. I know what I'm going to do. I've got my plan, and I'm going to start looking at these secondary disabilities. Okay? As always, gang, Mastery members, love you guys. You're part of the Insider family. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. All right. And God bless you and your family. Okay. We'll see you real soon.